Welcome to Ready to Teach ESL, the video learning series that helps you build real English skills, one lesson at a time. I'm glad you're here. Let's get started. Today's topic is immigration, identity, and the complex question of belonging. This is a deeply personal and politically significant subject. The narrative today reflects on the experience of cultural duality, living between two worlds. There is a particular kind of homesickness that doesn't diminish with time, and doesn't belong entirely to the place you left. I have lived in Canada for 16 years. I've built a career here, raised children here, made friends here who know me better than anyone in my country of origin ever did. And yet, there are moments, unannounced, inconvenient, when I feel a profound displacement. Not from Canada, not from home, from any fixed sense of where I belong. The sociologist Stuart Hall described diaspora identity not as fixed or permanent, but as a production, something always in process, never complete. When I first read that in a graduate seminar, I felt as though someone had named something I had been trying to articulate for a decade. Belonging, I had been assuming, was a destination, a state you arrived at and then occupied. What I was learning slowly, uncomfortably, was that for people like me, it is more of a practice. Something you do, rather than something you have. The experience of cultural duality is, in many respects, an extraordinary gift. I move between languages, between registers, between ways of understanding relationships, humor, silence, obligation. I see Canadian culture with the clarity that comes from standing slightly outside it, and I see my culture of origin with the perspective that distance provides. Neither view is complete. Both are valuable. I have come to believe that this is not a problem to be solved but a position to be inhabited, one with its own distinct epistemological advantages. What I resist is the narrative of assimilation that still, despite decades of multiculturalist policy rhetoric, exerts pressure on newcomers in Canada. The expectation, rarely stated, persistently felt, that full belonging requires the gradual subordination of one's prior cultural self. That to be fully Canadian means to be less of whatever you were. I reject this framing emphatically. Canada's strength has never been cultural uniformity. It has been, at its best, a negotiated, dynamic, sometimes uncomfortable coexistence of difference. The question of belonging will, I think, remain open for me, and I have made my peace with that. I belong to this city. I belong to my family and community. I belong to the language I work in. I belong to the stories I carry from both places. That is enough. It is actually more than enough. A beautifully crafted and deeply felt narrative. Let's engage with your comprehension at the highest level. Pause after each question. Question 1. How does the speaker describe the particular kind of homesickness they experience, and what makes it unusual? Question 2. How did the sociologist Stuart Hall's concept of diaspora identity resonate with the speaker? Question 3. What does the speaker identify as the extraordinary gift of cultural duality? Question 4. What assimilation narrative does the speaker resist, and why? Question 5. How does the speaker ultimately resolve the question of belonging for themselves? Here are the answers. Answer 1. It doesn't diminish with time and doesn't belong to any one place. It is a displacement from any fixed sense of where they belong. Answer 2. Hall described identity as a process rather than a fixed state, which helped the speaker understand that belonging is a practice, not a destination. Answer 3. Moving between languages, registers, and cultural perspectives, seeing both cultures with unusual clarity. Answer 4. The expectation that full belonging requires suppressing one's prior cultural identity, the idea that being fully Canadian means being less of your original self. Answer 5. They accept that belonging remains open and find it in their city, family, language, and the stories they carry from both cultures. Extraordinary listening and thinking. See you next time on Ready to Teach ESL. For more videos like this, like and subscribe.